Have you guys seen the old timey bandit meme where it's like your money or your life? My life. Here you go. You're late for soccer practice. Timmy's got rehearsals in 2 minutes. Hello and welcome to the Games That Made Us podcast. I'm Brent. I'm here with my friend Kirk. Say hi, Kirk.
Say hi, Kirk.
And we're joined as always by our good friend Benny. Say hi, Benny.
No.
Okay, that's fine. I don't give a fuck.
Wait, I want to do over. Hi.
I don't even care.
I don't even care, Mom.
I care.
Give me a fucking Pepsi, Mom.
I just want to play Vidya.
Oh, now I got fucking suicidal tendencies stuck in my head. You're on drugs. I know it. No, I just want a fucking Pepsi, Mom. Strong start. Strong open.
You kind of sprung it on. I wasn't ready for you to kick it off there.
Yeah.
It's good.
Hello, gentlemen. Hello again. Welcome to the podcast things.
Greetings, fellow human.
Greetings, fellow kids. Kirkelstein, you have a beer there.
Yeah.
Tell me about your beer. I insist.
It's just another space camper variant from
Sweet.
Boulevard. When I was grabbing beer on the way here, I'm like, I didn't want to think too hard. I just grabbed something I knew I wasn't going to complain about, and if anyone wanted to share any of the beer, they weren't going to complain about. But it's whatever newest variants they have. It's pretty good. They got one's called Chill Break. It's Endless IPA, whatever the hell that means. Honestly, don't know. I don't pay, like. There's so many variants IPAs anymore. I'd fucking whatever. But the only one that really caught my interest was an amber IPA, which
love an amber beer.
I'm always a big fan of like amber ales, of course, like red ales, things like that too. But an amber IPA, I'm like, okay, let's check that out, and it's actually pretty good. I even asked Benny if I was having a stroke and had to hand it to him because the aftertaste kind of tasted like peanut butter Captain Crunch, and it was it's pretty delightful.
Back when I was still brewing beer instead of just cider, I made a red IPA that was like 8%, like a red imperial IPA called I Don't Know What I'm Doing, because it was literally just I literally just started throwing the ingredients that I had left in my grain bin together, and I was like, I just need to use all this shit up. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, it's a red beer. Cool. And then I was like, it should be a really fucking strong beer. So I added like 3 pounds of brown sugar to it also. And then just threw all the remaining hops that I had in my freezer into it.
God.
Oh, so good. It came out so good.
That's wild that you just like went mad scientist with it.
Yeah, I was just like,
came out with something palatable.
I want to put all the things that I have left in. I put oats in it too. So it had a really nice mouthfeel. Speaking of people who have a really nice mouthfeel, Benny, what are you drinking?
Another huge can.
This was out of necessity that I bought this, and I thought I'd like it more than I do. This is a Corona Sunbrew. It's a citrus cerveza. Beer brewed with real citrus peels with a splash of real citrus juice. I'm sure some people would like it. It's really sweet. I honestly am struggling I kind of want one of Kirk's Space Campers or something else after I drink this.
There's also
go for it.
I think a couple Bells in the fridge too, if you want one of those.
To be clear, it's actually not bad. It's just
beer shouldn't be sweet.
Well, sometimes I don't mind it. Yeah. I just don't like the combination of this one.
I also always have a problem when people are like, "Oh, it's citrus," and I'm like, "But which?" Mm-hmm. Like that's kind of like saying it's got vegetables in it.
This one at least is like this one's orange and lime.
Okay.
Honestly, this would make a great beer garita. Like you don't. In fact, you wouldn't even need to add any sour to it.
Yeah.
It could use a little more lime and then throw some triple sec and tequila in it and fresh lime.
I haven't had a good margarita in a long time. Like just a lime juice, triple sec,
like
tequila,
a real margarita.
Real margarita.
Well, I'm going to go grab something else from that fridge because I am kind of tapping out on that.
Okay.
But honestly, I don't regret getting it, and it's colossal. It's like it's a huge.
You want any of these?
Can.
They're still cold.
Well, yeah.
And I also have things here.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking. Well, I'm about to tell you.
Well, wait. I want to. Have you guys ever had a broken skull margarita?
No, what's a broken skull margarita?
It's a normal margarita, but you top it off with Grand Marnier.
Oh.
And it's actually fucking delightful.
That sounds. Yeah.
Yes, I have. You could use Grand Marnier instead of triple sec.
Yeah.
That sounds really
Yeah,
nice.
and it's kind of got a nice mouthfeel.
You
Yeah.
can still use the triple sec, but you're just meant to like float the Grand Marnier on top of it.
Yeah, but you've already got like the kind of citrus in the Grand Marnier, so you can. I feel like you can get away with. But fair enough. I guess I didn't realize that you do both in an actual one. But anyway,
You can,
I
but yeah, I think when I made it, you're right. I don't think I use triple sec at all. I just top it with Grand Marnier, so it has like that, the green base, but like the brown Grand Marnier on top.
if you want to make blue margaritas, you can use blue curacao.
That's true. I'm a big fan of the like Central Texas style margarita too, where it's just simple lime and tequila and shake it, and like it's very pared down. It's basically a tequila daiquiri, but it's really really nice, especially on a hot day.
I mean, that's the margarita that you get at Applebee's or like the mix that you get at the store is not what a margarita was originally envisioned as at all.
No.
That's got so much sugar in it.
Well, and okay,
The sour mix is just too much.
Did you know that margarita is Spanish for daisy, and a daisy is a brandy, triple sec, and lemon cocktail? And so the margarita is just a tequila daisy. I'm drinking, as per usual. Specifically, what I'm drinking is another fucking quirk. I drink so many of these goddamn quirks.
They're good.
They are, and
They're
like
so palatable.
they are, and it like I mentioned the other day that something about beer is starting to give me like a really mild allergic reaction. I don't know if it's the hops or the grain, but I've been steering clear of beer recently as a result of that. But I like having a can of something. And these cherry blossom and lime quirks are very tasty and have what looks like, it's got like the kind of stylized Japanese style cherry blossom on the can. It's very pretty. And
The sakura.
yeah, and it that's also the nickname of the Japanese national rugby union team is the sakura, the cherry blossoms.
Really?
Yeah, which when I see a 6'5", 400-pound circular human barreling down the field, getting ready to turn somebody into a greasy smear on the field, I don't think cherry blossom. But hey, cultures are different, and that's cool.
Maybe he's got a delicate soul.
Maybe he does.
Kirk just sent me a recipe for I'm sorry, I got to call this out. He just sent me a recipe for a margarita with Patron. Go fuck yourself.
It's just what I copied really quick from online, dude.
How dare you?
Just whatever. I copied that because I wanted to bring up. It's sometimes I don't use the triple sec at all, like what we were talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
But I knew there was another ingredient in there I was missing, and it's the agave nectar, like the clear.
Yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was missing. That's why I sent that to you. Because I know
Okay.
I have made it without the triple sec, but there's another ingredient in there. I couldn't remember what
Little
it was.
agave nectar, float the Grand Marnier.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I really like El Jimador in terms of like mid-range tequila. Like the Blanco El Jimador is a really nice.
What's the tequila in that tall blue bottle? Starts with an M.
Milagro.
I think that's what.
Oh,
it is.
yes,
I
it
like
is.
that
Yeah.
too. That's good.
I don't know. There's some other, I think, decent mid-range ones that are affordable.
You know what I really like doing, and I don't know what the name is for it, but making a margarita with mezcal instead of tequila.
Yeah, there's another name for that.
Yeah.
I like good mezcal,
Like the
especially
smokiness
if you
of
get
that is
the
really nice.
like a really nicely aged mezcal is really really
Yeah.
smooth.
Yeah,
It's kind of got some of the same traits as a good whiskey or even a scotch.
yeah, absolutely. Like I think that smokiness from it does remind me a lot of Scotch. There's a cocktail. This is just going to be fucking the guy's cocktail hour. No, there's a cocktail called Wakanda Forever, and it's mezcal, a coffee liqueur, and there's another dark liqueur. It might be Fernet, and like that stirred over a big rock, and it's really nice. It's really like complex, and you've got the menthol and the smoke, and it's got like that deep, rich, like earthy chocolatiness from the coffee liqueur that's also like kind of held up by both the Fernet and the
sounds like a bit of a kick.
I mean, as we've discussed on the podcast, I'm an ex-smoker, so I like the strong flavors because I blew out my nasal cavity. I'm also a fucking asthmatic, so which those are two things that you really want to do together: smoke and be an asthmatic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like strong flavors. That's why I like Middle Eastern food too. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
vinegar and salt and just like strong. Anyway, we're going to talk about a video game, or we could just do cocktail recipes.
Cinco de Drinko is only about a month away, so
There
if
you
you want a
go.
good margarita, that's the time to have one.
Cinco de Drinko. That's actually
In fact, this is going to be coming out around that time.
yeah.
Oh, right on.
We
Right?
Yeah,
I believe so, yeah.
it for sure will. We went to El Plato yesterday, and the servers were wearing T-shirts that said Cinco de Drinko, and I was like, I mean, I know they're Mexican American people that were serving me, but I don't know. I wouldn't have made them wear that shirt. That's just like,
Well, we as Americans like to appropriate other cultures' holidays and then turn it into drinking.
it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Every time.
Every time.
Yeah. Yeah, we just recently had St. Patty's Day. Do you think any of us were like, I'm blonde-haired, blue-eyed. Well, I guess like super Irish and whatever. And I know the whole history of St. Patty's Day, but I use it as a holiday for drinking. I couldn't care less about the Catholics removing the Druids out of Ireland and all that.
I just
kind of do. Sorry if anyone listening is from Ireland. I care. Maybe you don't care. I don't know. Either way, I said it. What are you going to do about it?
I'm waiting for the day that Norwegian Constitution Day becomes a major drinking holiday in America.
I mean, it's not.
You got to start it somewhere, Brent.
Dude,
Just show up in the middle of the town square, just over by City Hall.
Yeah.
Just drunk waving a sign.
Okay,
Let's get weird with Yom Kippur, man.
one of my I got so many things to say that, but I'm not going to say any of them.
Jesus Christ.
So one of my good friends in college and I, we used to go to bars and just like show up just shit wrecked, and then walk around going, "It's Latvian Independence Day." Every time it was funny. At least we thought so, and we were the ones that we thought were important. Kirk, we're talking about a video game today.
Are we?
I think so.
Okay.
You're looking at me with those bedroom eyes. I can't really tell where we're going with this.
I can just tell you're just like, God damn it! Can we just move this along, please?
Does that mean I'm the boom mic guy?
Yes. Absolutely. You have to have the backwards tan baseball cap. I'm just gonna turn you into fucking.
I'm just imagining I'm the guy from Orgasmo.
I was thinking
Fucking hot.
Boogie Nights with oh my god, what's his name? He died in real life, not in the movie. Philip Seymour Hoffman. Like just the upsettingly short shorts and the like crop top and the backwards tan, and just like sweating profusely while you watch with the fucking boom mic. I don't know why that's where I went with that, but
When did he die?
a couple years ago.
Oh,
Maybe well, it's probably like 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's
really?
been a while. Yeah.
Knowing how time works, because it was definitely before my daughter was born, and she's 11. So
really? It must have just been one of those random ones I missed.
it wasn't too long after Doubt came out, which that's been a while. Because like the last couple of movies that I remember him doing was like Doubt, and then the one that was really about Scientology. But
he passed away right around the time that one of his like last films came out.
yeah. Anyway, we're talking about a video game, and it's Kirk picked it. So if you're mad at it, blame him. Kirk, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about Doom today.
Doom. Doomy, doomy, doomy.
I gotta sing the Doom song now. Doom, 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 doom.
For me, it feels like this game is outside of time. I'm pretty sure, like, when they were playing Pong on the oscilloscope, inventing it, one of the scientists there who was creating, helping with Pong was going, okay, that's cool, but can we make it play Doom? Because this game is now, like, the original, by the way, has become, like, it's still relevant in pop culture because that's a big trope is, can you get literally any screen or anything to play Doom? Like your the touchscreen on your Samsung fridge or LG fridge or whatever, people have gotten Doom to play on it. Right. The little Corsair Nexus screen on top of keyboards, people have gotten Doom to play on it. Even as small as like, there's like a tiny, tiny, tiny little LCD screen, like the size of a keycap. Yeah. They got Doom to play on it.
Well, I was telling you guys on the podcast a while ago that a scientist figured out how to grow bacteria in such a way as to be able to play Doom at like 1 frame per 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah. See, it's one of those things, like, if you guys remember the whole, but can it play, like, Crysis kind of thing?
Yes, I was going to say.
Crysis was one of those, like, you needed, like, a theoretical supercomputer from the future to play, and it's still pretty taxing on even modern systems. I'm linking, or the remake, I should say.
I'm linking, like, 4 or 5 Crays supercomputers together so I can play fucking Crysis.
Yeah. But it's kind of one of those things where a game hits a certain point where it's more infamous than actually famous at a certain point. And this is one of these cases where Doom came out in 1993. Right. It's pretty much eventually out for everything.
Yes.
Created by, do you guys say ID Software or id Software?
I always say id.
Id, okay.
I always said ID, but that's because I didn't know any better. I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard people say it either way. Yeah. So I was just kind of curious there. That's why I bring it up. This was my first experience playing any FPS game, period. Yep. And just a little history. This game, although it wasn't the first true-to-form FPS game, it's definitely credited as the first FPS game. It was
the first one that I feel like made a major cultural impact.
Because, Wolfenstein was before it, but the first one to actually popularize it and become really what was a standard for a long time was Doom. Sorry, I had to do it. Oh, thank God! There's some Doom in my gut just there.
It's the Casey's.
Yeah, it's the breakfast pizza mixing with this fucking beer. Oh, I'm not gonna feel good later today. Thank God I'm not doing anything else. Just watching hockey and sitting on the couch with the wife. It'll be awesome. Anyways, Doom.
Doom. Yes. It was the second 3D game that I ever saw.
But even 3D is still. Technically, it was one of those
they call it 2.5D, right?
Yeah. Yes, it's 3D in the same way Mario Kart is 3D, where you are not actually moving around in a 3D space. You are, for the most part, never moving as far as 3D is concerned, but the environment around you is moving to give you the illusion of 3D.
You're in a 2D plane projected onto a third dimension.
Again, the Mario Kart comparison was a lot better than I thought it.
That's perfect. Well, and especially
because more people have probably played that, but yeah.
And when they ported Doom to the Super Nintendo, they used Mode 7 graphics to make Doom on the Super Nintendo, which is the same SNES graphics mode that they used to make Mario Kart. Like it's the same technology.
But this game, well, obviously, like I play lots of games, but first-person shooters for a long, long time were like my bread and butter. My first experience with this game was, like, I don't know how many times I've said this on the podcast now, usually at another friend's house. Because I didn't really have anything at my house, or at least what we had was primitive. Like, if I wanted to play Hangman on an old Tandy, fuck yeah, man. I could play Hangman all day on that sumbitch. Tandy.
Oh, Tandies.
Yeah. There's so many people who are just like, what the fuck is that?
That's so long ago. Yep. That's the anytime somebody says Tandy, that's the fucking Lord of the Rings meme that I was there, Gandalf. I was there 4,000 years ago.
Yeah, I'd go over to a friend's house. This is actually a different friend than some of the friends I've mentioned prior, because a lot of times it's been like the same one or two friends.
Yeah.
But I'd go over to this friend's house. He had a different set of video games.
Yeah.
But they also had a computer. I can't remember exactly what it was because it was so long ago, but I remember them having Doom.
Right.
And we played the hell out of Doom. It was one of those where like we would trade on and off.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if you die, well, it's my turn. Because it was that's really all you needed. You didn't want one person just watching another person play the entire time. It was like, all right, you died, my turn.
The like hot potato couch co-op was such a huge thing in that era, where it's like, because there were so many games that weren't actually 2-player games, but that's how we'd play them. It's like, okay, it's my turn, and then somebody's younger brother would come along and be like, I want to play,
Mom.
and then you'd be like, get your mom. He's too little. He doesn't know how to do it.
Like, you're playing it wrong. Give it to me.
Yeah.
You'll have nightmares. You can't play.
The claymation monster will scare you.
Yeah. So this game really didn't have a backstory or any like there was no.
No, it just dumps you in.
There really was like no story. That's just kind of implied because of some of the novels that were around, I guess, at the time.
Yeah,
I didn't really know any of the novel or comics, but I don't think those would come out until
it's got to be later,
like a little bit. But I know that was still in the 90s. But eventually, over time, kind of a story would envelop the universe.
Yeah.
The most popular one is the one that's still used as canon today, where you play as Doom Guy. That's your name. And
John Romero being like, yeah, I am Doom Guy. Like, oh, you fucking asshole.
Yeah.
He still hasn't made me his bitch, by the way. He promised to do that 20 years ago. Are you familiar with this, Benny?
I don't think so.
Okay, so John Romero, when he broke off from id, he created a game called Daikatana, and it was marketed as John Romero's Daikatana. And the ads, which were in every video game magazine at the time, said, John Romero's going to make you his bitch. and I was like 10, and I'm like, I don't think he will. Actually, I think that's... And I was correct. He was lying. Fucking liar.
Eventually, you're just like, I'm tired of waiting. I'm going to move on.
Oh, man.
Just send a heartfelt letter. I waited for you at the 7-Eleven.
That'd be great. Like,
for 6 months.
Send him a letter. No, send him a letter now. Like, it's been almost 30 years, John.
Yeah.
I'm tired of waiting.
His hairy ass.
Like, we just need to move on. Like, come on, John. Oh, that's right, Doom. So it's eventually implied, like, you're, even in the first game, based on the environment you're in and etc., you're in some sort of weird space hell. Yeah. Like, that's the best way I can put it.
Spell.
Yeah. There's other, like, enemy soldiers there who are trying to kill you. There's monsters for sure trying to kill you. And your job is to run around with all these weapons you find. Double barrel shotguns,
just
chainsaws, rocket launchers, chain guns, you name it, whatever. And fight your way through this weird space hell.
Yeah. Spell.
And that's kind of how this, that's like how even the newest games, because the series is still ongoing.
Yeah.
They just released Doom Eternal. There was like a hiatus there for a while, and then they kind of made a return back to the series. But the newest one is no longer done by id Software, because I think they're defunct, right?
I believe so.
And then
they got bought, and then
but either way, Bethesda ended up with the rights.
Right.
Most people know who Bethesda is, but they've been making the Doom games, and they're always very fantastic. They are extremely polished.
Yeah.
And very well optimized to even where these modern AAA games can play on a potato.
Right.
It's great. But the newest story is kind of what I was already talking about. Your hell has kind of come to Earth, or at least I think first the moon or Mars, if I remember correctly, in the 2016 Doom game.
Yeah.
And hell's coming to Earth. or Mars at the time. You're Doom guy. I can't remember the story about like how you're tied into all this. Like you're a Sentinel or something. Like
It doesn't
yeah,
matter.
it doesn't matter.
Like,
It's just a shoot 'em up.
it is
for-
it is the thinnest like facade of a story just to because the thing with Doom is that it's always been like
Well, wait. The canon story though is the reason why Doom guy is so pissed off
Yeah.
is because demons killed his bunny.
what?
Is that real?
That's a thing?
That's a thing.
Oh, I'd be mad too.
Demons killed his pet bunny, and he fucking lost it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now I feel bad for him with his big crunchy man eyebrows and the little blood dripping down his face.
Yeah, that's the that I'm gonna double
I'd
check
go on a
that to
killing
make sure.
spree too.
Yeah. So wait, what we're saying here is that oh my god, what's the Keanu Reeves movie? John Wick. This is like Doom precedes John Wick.
It
Oh my
really
God.
is in a way, yeah.
Yeah.
Proto,
Like all of those movies
proto
because
John Wick.
some asshole killed his dog.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. All of them deserve exactly what's coming to them, honestly.
So Kirk bought the that you just led me to something. We'll have to talk about music at some point.
Oh
but
god, it's so good.
Kirk bought this game for both of us on
Yes.
Steam, and it
Which,
has
thank you, Kirk.
yeah, and it's like a compilation with Doom, Doom 2, and a bunch of like the ancillary titles.
Yeah.
And it comes with some of the creature comforts of a modern port, including like a redone soundtrack
Yes.
and some nicer overlays for some of it.
Yeah.
I did the text overlays, but chose to stick with the original soundtrack.
I did both. I did Thy Flesh Consumed with the remixed soundtrack, and then one of the other ones I did with the original soundtrack, and it was cool. The original soundtrack is so good and so iconic, but I did really like they clearly wanted it to be like a metal soundtrack in the early 90s, and they just couldn't do it. So the remix soundtrack I appreciated. It was good.
Oh well, I was trying to find out because there's different renditions of Doom Guy. There's also
Yeah.
the Doom Slayer, but
Yeah.
one of them is I was trying to find the rabbit's name too. His rabbit's name was Daisy, and the demons killed his pet rabbit
Oh,
Daisy.
monsters, literally.
So like that's like one of the bases for like they decapitated and put it on a spike, and because they're demons.
no!
So he fucking was just like,
Oh,
y'all are done.
Well, I'd go on a multi-dimensional
murderous rampage too.
I
fucking
can't.
tear them apart.
I don't know if that's still the motivation of the newest rendition of Doomslayer, but that's still like
That's amazing. That's so good.
it really is like a John Wick kind of thing, though.
That makes this game at least 10 times more awesome.
My wife and I talk about it. So, tangential at best. I promise I'm not about to go on a killing spree. But, I would punch a neighborhood child. I would beat up a neighborhood child for hurting one of my cats. So if someone killed my rabbit, especially if demons killed my rabbit, yes, I would find the biggest guns I could.
John?
Oh no, I still have a
I know, but these are the blueberries. They're
yes,
at the bottom.
yes,
The
I would
blueberries?
like,
Yeah,
I would like one of them.
Kirk wants a blueberry.
I'm a sleut for anything blueberry.
He really is.
I knew when I got to the blueberry that I would share.
Aw, I like you too.
Aww. Yeah, this was a game. So I was briefly talking to Benny before we started recording that like Hexen was a big deal for me, which Hexen is another one of the games that spun off of this because id Software rather licensed the engine that they created for Doom to everyone that wanted it. So there were a ton of what they called at the time Doom clones. But I never really played a ton of Doom, but it was so ubiquitous in the culture.
It was everywhere.
And like, so I remember there was this software store in North Texas. It's the weirdest fucking place. because it wasn't a game store and it wasn't an office store. It was a software store, and they just had software, just lots and lots and lots of big box.
If you remember in like the early 90s, like what would eventually become EB Games,
Yeah.
electronics boutique,
Right.
even and before it was ever synonymous with games,
Yeah.
it was first more like a software outlet that mirrored like a Radio Shack, which there may be people listening that are like, what the fuck's a Radio Shack? But
Get off my lawn.
Also, good. Fuck Radio Shack. Like,
for
even
real.
as a kid, I'm like, this place sucks. Like, they have a lot of stuff, but what they have, you don't need, and what you need, they don't have. So
It's true.
and it's all $1,000, even a single LED.
oh, it's like a modern day Best Buy. That's Radio Shack.
But
Bye. Oh my God.
But at the time, like,
Yeah.
but I know what you're talking about. Like, software outlets were a thing at the time, like where you'd go to a place and you'd peruse their wares, and it was all soft wares.
Shut up.
What's the
I walked into that one honestly.
what's the like cat
Softball it in there.
creatures in Elder Scrolls?
Khajiit.
Oh, the Khajiit?
Yeah, has wares to sell.
Khajiit has many wares.
Yeah. But no, I remember walking into this
Khajiit
store.
has wares if you have coin.
There you go. And it was like just a fucking clusterfuck of Commodore and Mac and PC. And PC was not a unified platform at the time either, because there were bootloader. There's bootloader software that you would run before DOS. Like it would run direct on the hardware. Mm-hmm. And then there was DOS software and then Windows software, and it was all different and it didn't all work. So it was just like a fucking shit show trying to find a piece of software to run on your computer.
Well, and which platform did you have in the first place? Did you have IBM or did you have
Well, we had
Intel
Mac.
or Mac? But
Yeah.
the platforms were all different too and incompatible. And
Exactly. And there was
still a rat race for superiority.
and it's early 90s, so there was still Atari computers around as well. There were the Atari 8-bit PCs as well. And
Commodores were still floating around.
Just a fucking shit show. And I remember
Saturday morning cartoons were still a thing. Fucking crazy. We were all hopped up on Jolt Cola.
Bill Clinton was president. It was amazing.
Getting on the telephone and calling our local Blockbuster to reserve a VHS tape.
I would call Movie Phone and figure out what time the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie was playing at the Cineplex. It was amazing. We were gods and we didn't know. Anyway.
I had a book called The TV Guide where I could look into the future what time a show was going to be on that week or day.
I was reading Animorphs and I was getting funny feelings about the lizard girl on the cover. It's great. So good. Anyway, but so they had this like wicker basket of floppy disks at the front, like at the counter. And it was like shareware stuff. And they were selling the shareware. You could buy, for our listeners who are a little younger, shareware was software that was available freely distributed, and then you would play it and you would buy it if you liked it. And it was usually like a demo or like a crippled version, or sometimes it was just games or pieces of software that people were just freely distributing. And then if you liked it, you would send them money. Well,
it's a variance on freeware, but shareware also implies that you can distribute it as long as you don't make money off of it, depending on the licensing.
Exactly. And this crooked, weird little software store had floppy disks in Ziploc bags in a wicker basket for $2 a piece. And that's where I first encountered Doom.
Can you imagine selling computer herpes?
Oh, yeah, because doing anything like that nowadays would just not fly.
No.
It's like if someone was just like, hey, I have this USB drive with a game on it.
You should go stick it in your computer.
Yeah, go
It'll
Make
be
sure
fine.
auto run is enabled.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that just, no. So it was a different time.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't do that anymore. It's like you're going to give your computer active AIDS. Like,
Full-blown AIDS.
Full-blown AIDS.
And I remember like getting it home and sticking the floppy in the fucking Performa and booting it up and just being like, it's scary. Click.
Okay, can I bring up just like a textural or like a sensation based like memory? Isn't there something kind of nostalgic about inserting and then also like ejecting a 3.5-inch floppy disk?
Yes, absolutely.
There's just
chunk.
There's a mechanical feel to that mechanism,
so good.
and it's kind of satisfying.
And
I
it's
just had to call it back to that.
universal too. Like
Yeah,
it didn't
all of
matter
them
what.
felt that
Yeah,
way.
they all felt that way. If it was a Mac or a Windows
good.
or a Tandy or whatever. Well, those were low density 3.5-inch floppy disks.
Yeah.
Like
Now
if you guys remember the difference between low density and high density
yeah, yeah.
3.5-inch floppy disk.
'Cause
But it was all that very satisfying, that heavily mechanical, just you physically have to put pressure on that button and
Yeah.
it's like plink, like pops out the ka-chunk, like you were saying.
Yeah,
You know
the
what they
chunk
have?
is so good.
They have like fidget spinners now. I'm gonna start carrying around a full
Floppy
5.25-inch drive bay 3.5-inch floppy drive and a floppy disk, and just like I'm gonna start using the bus again just so I can insert and eject a floppy disk in public.
And then
You're
every
gonna
now and then, like, take the disc out and the little mechanical, like, the
and
covers.
click-
slide it
click
back
the
and
little
forth.
cover.
The little spring, yeah.
Oh my
Even though
God.
you totally should never do that. We all did it anyways.
There's going to be a 45-year-old dude in a polo sitting next to you on the bus, and he's like, can I do that?
And
Can I click the
for all
floppy?
the
Dude, oh my god!
and for all the kids who don't know,
I'm
a
gonna show up to
3.5-inch
like a festival with just a wall of those.
Oh,
And sell it by the minute.
and for all the younger listeners, a 3.5-inch floppy disk. You know what your save icon is on everything?
Yeah.
That's originally a 3.5-inch floppy
That's
disk.
that.
That's
So-
that. That's
so
what that is.
I know we're off on a fucking tangent, but I have to share. Somebody,
Doom is 99% nostalgia.
yeah, somebody like awakened a core memory in me on Reddit the other day. They were talking about iOmega zip drives.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, iOmega zip drives. My mom went all in. We had 2 zip drives. We had like a wall of the zip. Like,
Hey,
It
it
was
was going to be the future right up until CDs showed up.
Yeah.
oh, no, I know what it was. The guy was like, somebody was like, oh, would the N64 have been more successful if they'd used technology similar to zip instead of cartridges? And I'm like,
No.
you have clearly never, ever used a zip drive. They overheated. They had lots of mechanical points of failure. The drive would eat the disc. It would like ging, 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 and then you couldn't get it out. And to take it out, you would kill both the disc and the drive. That's why we had 2 of them.
And the discs were notoriously fickle in terms of data retention as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Oh my
The
God.
read write was very poor. It was still effectively
It was a big floppy.
Yes, that's what it was. And a lot of people don't realize a floppy disk has like a spinning disk film inside of it. So it's still just a precursor to CD. But what gave the zip drive really the best advantage over CDs was, if it had worked correctly, it was consistently rewritable, where CDs at the time were not. Right. You write it once to a CD, it's done. You can't use it again.
Even CDRWs, which would come out later, were still had a limited number of cycles.
Yes, it was very
But
finicky.
it was just the idea that like this was another format war, a very minor format war.
Yeah.
That kind of, it was a very quiet, polite war that just came and went before anybody really thought too much.
It was like
of
the
it.
mouse that roared of wars.
Yeah.
Like, it was like 3 guys getting off a boat in New York City, and it's like, I guess we won.
In a sense, cartridges are still out there. Obviously, Nintendo, the Switch uses them, 3DS uses them, because
The Vita.
the original,
Won't let it die.
the original cartridge was just the precursor
He's dead,
to
Jim.
what is modern flash storage.
Yeah.
It's the same concept, and there's no mechanical moving parts or anything. It's all flash storage.
Which is why cartridges will probably be around, or like flash storage will be around for a while because it's still viable.
I was so proud of my daughter. She brought home a magazine that she got at school about, I can't remember his name, but the gentleman who worked for Intellivision who invented the video game cartridge. And she was like telling me about it, and I was just like,
A little tear.
"You're my favorite. I keep you."
Do you have a little tear in your eye?
I
just in the corner?
did. Hey, so Doom.
Yes. It has quite the legacy too, because like we were saying, it's mostly all nostalgia. I don't really know, especially the original Doom. I could talk in length about the new Doom games, but then that's not really the games that made us.
Right.
Like those games didn't make me. It's original. Like it's the very beginning.
Original,
The original is what is the game that made me. But unfortunately, there's no story. Like it.
Not really. I mean, like,
So it's really hard to talk about a game that has no story. It has text on the screen, but it's not a story. It's just like your stats. Like, that's it.
It's one of the most frenetic. Maybe that's the thing that I want to say more than anything about Doom. Is up to that point in my life playing video games in an arcade or on an NES or on a Mac, I'd never experienced a game that like got me fucking turned. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it was like the Doom is just so frenetic and over the top, and like you feel so overpowered and badass when you're playing.
You're
it.
so fast.
It's the speed and ferocity of that game, and like in the fullness of time, it looks kind of silly, but when you think about where it was, because I even like Castle Wolfenstein, which is a great game, and we'll probably talk about it at some point.
We're gonna have to.
It's a great game, but it feels slow and clunky by comparison with Doom.
Sure.
And the fact that they got there so quick, I mean, going from Commander Keen to Castle Wolfenstein to Doom in like the course of like 3 years, and then to Quake within another like 4, is insane how quickly it like built up. And when you look at the state of American PC gaming in the mid to late 90s, how important those guys were, John Carmack and John Romero and American McGee, like the guys who worked on Doom wound up being, like, other than like Sid Meier and Will Wright, kind of the rock stars of the American PC gaming scene for the next 10 years.
And it really, and then this, to me, this game really solidified, I know this is a controversial topic, but it made virtualized violence more commonplace.
Yeah.
Because at the time, violence in video games, or even using a gun to such an effect, or at least at that time realistically, like you do in Doom, it didn't exist. Well, Wolfenstein had it, but again, there was a lot of graphical limitations and things like that where it was really hard to...
And Wolfenstein wasn't as ubiquitous as Doom was, so like it wasn't as visible.
Yes.
Whereas like so many people were aware of Doom that it pushed the conversation over the limit, like over the threshold, into the place where we had to have those conversations because we had to get them out of the way at some point.
It moved the Overton window of what was normal within video games a lot.
Think about it this way. If Doom didn't exist, do you think games like Mortal Kombat would have came out at the time they did and would have been the same way?
Yeah.
I really think games like Doom normalized violence in video games. I know that sounds kind of weird to say, but they kind of shown like any medium can be transposed into a video game.
And they let us get the conversation out of the way about the impact of violence in video games on players. Because this was the of the controversies that came out, Germany banned either Doom 1 or Doom 2 for a while. There were like demands for like censorship and in certain places, and most famously it was cited to have had a role in the Columbine shootings.
Yes.
And that's really what I mean by it forced the issue. Like the next major one that we would have in my memory, and I'm sure this is wrong, but to my experience, this is absolutely canonical, that the next time it came up was like Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Yeah.
Grand
Theft Auto was big.
That next big one because that was the one where Joseph Lieberman and or was that the one that he was on?
No,
who was
so Lieberman was part of the original congressional hearing on video game violence that included hilariously Mortal Kombat and also Night Trap.
Night Trap.
Okay, that's right. We talked about that on the Mortal Kombat episode.
Night Trap being included in that really shows you just how far we've come
and how out of touch they were.
That was a game about...
It looked like, and it was even filmed in a way, it might as well have been like TGIF. Not to date myself even more in the 90s, but I mean, like it was like a really campy...
Yes.
It was a pillow fight simulator. Yeah. Like it was so...
It was an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yes.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Or like Erie, Indiana.
None of these kids listening have any fucking idea what we're talking about.
It was so... And what was particularly great about that was Night Trap at the time was like 5 years old because it had come out on PC and then been ported to the Sega CD. But again, PC gaming was so down in the mix that despite the fact that this congressional hearing that we're talking about was happening right about the same time as Doom's coming out, Doom was not in the conversation.
Yeah.
Right? PC gaming was so down in the mix. It was so out of the popular consciousness that only fucking nerds like us are like sitting around talking about 1993 PC gaming. Nobody cared.
Yeah.
Like Doom was the first time that PC gaming in America, and I know Europe's a very different situation, but in America, Doom was the first time that it like poked its nose into the mainstream to where video game magazines and journalists, like video game journalists, were talking about a PC game, and they were talking about it not as a haha, like it actually meant something. It mattered. But yeah, no, it was just it. I think you're right. I think that Doom pushed that Overton window over to where, okay, now it looks pretty fucking silly that we're upset about Pillow Fight Simulator,
right?
Because if you're going to be upset about something, be upset about Doom. Not that you should, because again, in the, like, fucking...
Because part of that conversation was to evoke the experience and the knowledge of experts, at least at the time we were inclined to give credence to those opinions.
Right.
And not to go down that path
back in the day when we used to trust experts' opinions. You remember that?
They'd bring in psychologists and children's psychotherapists and people to say, what actually affects behavior and does this have a noticeable effect? Like, what is this safe to be doing? And that was important for this pastime because it definitely, those conversations dictated whether this even continued into the largest entertainment industry on the planet that it is now, as opposed to dying another quiet death, kind of like the internet crash of 2000,
like the internet has.
I just mean like the .com bubble burst in general,
or even the video game crash that had happened just a couple years before this, where like basically gaming in America shrank by 80-90%.
E.T. the game.
Well, I mean, exactly. Late 80s, where it almost ceased to be a thing.
Yeah.
Effectively did for a while, and then but this
Nintendo.
could have been... What's that?
And then Nintendo.
And,
I mean, this could have really changed the landscape and push things back a lot.
And keep in mind, dear fan, this is a time where parents just overwhelmingly didn't play video games. It was considered.
This is exactly what I was going to say.
It wasn't considered a form of entertainment. It was more akin to a toy.
Yep.
Like an action figure you'd play with, not like a serious medium like you would watching a movie or something.
Exactly.
So a lot of these people and critics of it, especially higher up in the government, etc., had never played a single video game their entire goddamn life.
Yeah.
So that was the other part of the argument: is how can you even be a critic of something you know nothing about?
And then on the other side of that conversation, not to validate it, but like to give the perspective that they were coming from without any informed position was you were a parent and you came home one night and they said, tonight at 9 is your kid having violent sex with a prostitute on their video
Oh my
game.
God,
And you're like, holy shit, what?
I missed the
hell
very
yeah, I wanna play
special
that game.
report.
Tonight at 9.
Yeah, that was, oh my God. But yeah, no, I mean, it was
I'm Christy Newsface. Join me at 9.
every time. Again, this is I'm speaking purely from my own experience, which is as an American, and I don't, I know we have listeners other places. I don't know if the situation is the same where you are, but I know from my personal experience that every time a thing happens in America and American parents are asked to pay attention to their kids and parent them and make a decision about whether material they're consuming is appropriate or not, American parents, by and large, their response is, somebody else do it!
Yep.
Yep.
And this was what was happening with video games in the early 90s, where there was this attitude that it's like, well, Jimmy's playing on his Nintendo Genesis and somebody else should be in charge of whether or not the things that are allowed to be on there are appropriate for him. And it's like, no, you need to know what's appropriate for your kid, because what's appropriate for one child isn't appropriate for another, and a government entity can't determine that. You have to do it. You have to be the parent.
Yes.
You have to know
Exactly.
what media your kid is consuming and what that looks like with them and who they are. I'm like, I have 2 little girls. They're 11 and 8. My older girl loves scary shit, super into scary shit, is very, very easily influenced. There are things that that are appropriate for her that are definitely not appropriate for my 8-year-old, and it's not because one's younger than the other. It's because they're different people. They're different human beings, and you, as the parent, need to be responsible for knowing what kind of human being your child is. That's such basic shit.
And even then when they try to make it easy on the parents too, like around the same time, like when cable TV was more and more prominent instead of over the air. Cable TV was meant for like uncensored movies and such, but of course then the fucking Puritans come in. There's like, our kids are watching violent movies with swear words and titties and whatever. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing during this
They
time?
saw the same body part that nourished them and gave them life.
Yeah. Like, and instead of...
How dare you?
Instead of
God damn it.
making it their problem, which it is, they made it everyone else's problem. So that's why if you have cable TV or streaming service today, how a lot of it's still censored because of these same fucking assholes. But even back in the 90s, they invented the V-chip, which was like commonplace in every TV. And the whole purpose of this thing was it was able to detect the show and what kind of genre it fell in, and it would lock out the kid or whoever until a parent punched in the code. Fucking parents couldn't even be bothered to do that.
Which leads to the absolute minimum level of effort of creating the ESRB rating system.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I just, one more thing? I just love the fact that with the fucking...
I mean, I think this is most of this conversation is like the legacy and like,
Yeah.
and where we came from. Because Doom on its face is like, you're going to run, you have big guns and there's demons and then you kill everything and there are secret doors.
Demons.
And there's blood and there's corpses and, well, very pixelated blood and corpses and whatever. But
And then
still,
we're going to do it again and again. We'll go to the next level and it's going to be fun.
I do love. I do want to talk about the graphics of this game because they're so goofy and charming. But
Yeah.
It was so obvious in that era that like our parents' generation in specific was so disinterested in being the weather vane for what kind of media our generation was consuming. And whether it's the movies that got cut to shit where it's like, oh, I watched Body Double on TV and it was 25 minutes long. Or like the fucking video games where it's like, oh, little Timmy saw a drop of blood, so now we're going to throw his Genesis out the window. Like,
and then he proceeded to punch a kid in school and throw shit at his teacher because of a video game. Like, no,
it's because he was fucking 12.
He has other problems too.
the kid's not being violent because he's watching a violent video, he's playing a violent video game. He's playing a violent video game because you're not parenting him.
Exactly.
And that's why he's upset. He's upset because he's got shit parents. He's not upset because, like, for the same reason, it's like, I listened to a lot of metal music when I was a teenager. A lot of really shitty, gross, like, Korn and fucking, like, just Disturbed and just gross. Fucking Slipknot. Nasty shit. And you know why?
Because I was called metal back in the day. Didn't we call it something else? It wasn't like new rock.
It was
or
new
something?
metal.
New metal. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're fine.
My brain kind of shorts. I'm like, I'm pretty sure we didn't call that metal.
Yeah.
Like Alice Cooper would be pissed if we called it metal.
That's true. That's true. And I also like then developed into somebody who really liked like Scandinavian death metal too. So like that's about as different a genre as like Korn and Opeth are not the same genre.
But the Scandinavian death metal, that's like the song of your people, though.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. No, I just
call to battle, Brent.
Yeah, I just grow like a Viking helmet.
We've seen
just
it.
Come straight out of my head. But no, I mean, like, and that wasn't making me angry. I was finding it because I was angry, right? And it's so bizarre and backwards how we treat kids and teenagers in this country.
Yes, the kid found something to feed back to them.
Yes.
If I brought my teenager, well, he's damn near a man now. He'll and congratulations to him. He doesn't listen to this shit, but whatever. But if I were to show him old school Doom, he's probably seen it anyways. Yeah. He's a big gamer. But if I told him the legacy of how it was a big controversy and how they thought these kids were shooting up schools because of it and whatever, he would laugh his fucking ass off. He'd be like, "What? Really?"
Yeah.
He's like, this I read more violent shit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? And it's like, yeah, although the same people who were anti-Doom are the same people who want to fucking burn books too. So.
Yeah.
Oh, Benny.
I mean, you can't fight irrationality with more rationality, unfortunately.
Were you, earlier when we brought up that one lawmaker who sucks, were you thinking of Jack Thompson, the famous anti-video game lawyer?
No, I was actually probably one of the names I was thinking. It's a woman. I can't remember who she is. Was Hillary Clinton ever like?
She was very anti, like especially Grand Theft Auto.
Okay, I was thinking
of Tipper Gore as well.
Tipper Gore. Tipper Gore's the one I was thinking of. She had it in for Grand Theft Auto in particular, especially because Vice City had come out and had a lot of and there were admittedly some mildly to openly misogynistic themes and some ways that you could play that game that were not exactly good representations of behavior. Let's say it that way.
Yeah,
that is the most gentle phrasing of that.
Let's get up on our fucking high horses about a game that's meant to be a direct reference or an indirect reference to Scarface.
Yeah,
like the anti-hero who dies face down in a mountain of cocaine. Like let's, or at least goes face down, and he goes.
But
he takes out that mountain of cocaine from the inside out.
Yes,
but let's get mad about the video game.
They were that and Hillary Clinton. They were both upset about the infamous hot coffee mod from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Oh my God. And this is such. They couldn't have brought up a dumber example, because to make this mod work back in the day, you had to open up your console, mod the device.
Oh, that's right.
And then you needed, it could have changed a little bit over time because, there's easier ways to eventually mod, but you needed a special burnt copy of the game. And then you'd have to do a bunch of special sequences in the game to make the hot coffee was just a euphemism for sex. But even then, it was still very poorly rendered 3D models, just making the same. It's like mocap wasn't really a thing, so it was like these weird robotic motions. Then I even think the main character, his clothes were still on the entire time, and they were upset about the I guess just the idea of this mod. It's like even at this point in time when San Andreas came out, the internet was prominent. It was a thing. It was accessible to many, many, many of us at this time. And it's like we always say, y'all know porn exists, right?
There's some sort of idea that video games were special and that they like somehow like broke out of the barrier of abstraction between art and real life. Mm-hmm. Because like it's interactive, but ultimately like research has shown again and again that that's just not the case.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, these people knew very little about the actual titles and the platforms and the way that gamers experience games. And it was just moral grandstanding. At the end of the day, it was all about an agenda.
Yep. It was the same kind of response to the war on drugs, where video games got drug along in that too. Not that they were promoting drugs or anything, but
remember all the dare warnings at the beginning of games?
Yes, the dare, and then the warnings from the FBI, like winners don't do drugs. All well-meaning, but it still just horrendously backfired. And the war on drugs was an expensive
tone deaf
war on war on nothing. Attacking or trying to advertise the kids in arcades who fucking have probably never even heard of drugs at this point in time anyways. So it's like
they weren't worried about drugs yet, but then you came in and you're like, hey, be careful of this crazy thing that if you put it in your head, it turns all the colors into grape flavors.
All this totally cool shit that'll make you feel better.
Can I do that now?
And then the DARE program where they like showed us what all these drugs look like. It's like, oh, cool. So now I know like which ones to pick out, know which ones.
I wasn't going to do drugs until you told me about how cool they are.
Nothing has ever made me want to do drugs more than a parent insinuating I was already on drugs. It's like, well, might as well put some truth into it, you assholes. But the winners don't do drugs thing in arcade games was just such a tremendous failure.
Yeah, the Surgeon General.
Someone who knows absolutely nothing about video games getting involved in video games, Nancy Reagan.
Although it's hilarious that like it's important or it's like interesting to talk about, but ultimately this is the same thing that happens every time there's a technological advancement.
Yes.
This happened with television. This happened with movies. This happened with radio. I believe there's even like
internet
primitive stories about this happening with like the written word. Like there was a point in history where they thought it was improper that people should know how to read because the general masses couldn't handle the knowledge.
Yeah,
that was a tactic typically done by the church to keep them from reading.
Brent looks like he has ideas.
I'm gonna die here because I have to share something. Because I want to know if you guys remember this. Because
I've seen your dick. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes.
I still have the last picture you sent me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you keep
framed.
The
bow around. Yeah. Like the bow around the boober was a nice touch. It was very festive. Yeah.
No, do you guys remember the DARE ad that was like a literal ad for meth?
Yeah.
I can't sleep and I can't eat, but I've got the cleanest house on the street. Meth.
Meth.
And I'm like, they're writing jingles for drugs. That's the opposite of what they should be doing.
It's like what people told the cigarette companies to stop doing with their vapes. It's like, stop making a fucking fruit punch flavor.
And it went on to be like, what was it? Get these bugs all out of my face. Something blow all over the place. One more hit, no time to waste. Oh, meth. Meth.
It's so catchy.
Saturday morning cartoons.
It's so catchy.
Like, right between X-Men and Spider-Man, I love to see a girl tweaking out on meth and cleaning her house with a toothbrush. Like, that's dope.
That's your brain. That's your brain on drugs.
Yes.
Or it's an egg. You're on drugs.
You don't know how to cook eggs.
The infamous.
That's what I learned. Is you're bad at this.
Yeah. Or how about the kids playing around with the shotgun because they were smoking pot and one blew his head off?
Oh yeah, that's the thing that's gonna happen. Because when I smoke pot, I'm like, let's get out the firearms.
Yeah. The only thing I'm thinking about when I've smoked weed in the past, like, yeah, I know it's like legal everywhere now. I guess that we can talk about it openly, but like back in college when it was still illegal and we were all on drugs.
You know,
like anytime I was hanging out,
do.
Anytime I was hanging out with Brent or whoever, and we were smoking weed, like
or whomever,
like
not necessarily.
Guns were the last thing on our mind.
No.
It's like who's going to Taco John's?
Yes. It's tacos, it's pizza, it's water. I'm always
water,
so
yeah.
thirsty.
Yeah,
It's like the idea-
I'm sitting on this couch and I'm not leaving this couch.
Right.
It's like the idea that pot inspires anything other than more laziness.
Yes.
Right.
It's like that snowboarder in the X Games in the early 2000s who tested positive. They called it a performance-enhancing drug.
Was that Shaun White?
It's like
so.
that's a handicap if anything. Like what?
God, Robin Williams made a joke about that in his 2001 stand-up. Where it's like they tried to take the medal back from him and he couldn't find it. It was around his fucking neck. Just how out of
though either way.
how out of touch we were. Nothing's changed, right? Like
No.
we're in a world where the technology moves faster than the people who want to
Than the society.
control the society in general, and
God,
just trying not to get swept away.
I remember getting high one time, and he just like full on freaked out, like paranoid, and I'd never seen him anything other than smiley and happy. And he was just like sitting on the couch, like bug-eyed, talking about the inevitability of death and demise and how the universe was going to collapse in on itself. And I'm just sitting there like, you're really harshing my buzz, bro. Like,
Then one time after 90 minutes,
can we just watch fucking Super Troopers? Like,
Yeah, like Super Jail's on, man. Like
what was his deal that one time where we were sitting on the couch watching, like, God, it was like 1 a.m.
yeah.
Like after 90 minutes of saying nothing, I think you and I were yammering on about Saves the Day or something.
I know what you're talking
about.
yes.
We were listening to some awesome tunes.
Yeah.
And he just like stands straight up like a just fucking lightning bolt, stands up, and he looks at us just wide-eyed and goes, I need to get out of here. And then he just walks and locks himself in his bedroom. And I look over at Brett, I'm like, should we be worried about him? And Brett's like, nah, it's fine.
That's just what he does. God, he's like such a calm dude who got so squirrely on weed. It was always so
I think
weird.
he just kind of got inside his own head a little too much, and that was the
Yeah.
problem. Where he just started kind of thinking a little too much.
what a mythical figure.
The
Yeah.
best ever was
My spirit animal.
we were like mixing
Can't say that anymore, Kirk.
mixing pot with shisha and smoking
Oh,
it out of
God.
a hookah, and we were all sitting around watching Animal Planet, and it was like 3 hours, and we like grokked for the first time that no one had said anything for like 3 hours. We'd just been silent, passing the hookah around and watching like Animal Planet for 3
Yeah.
hours. And it was the funniest moment that we'd ever collectively experienced. And we were like rolling around on the ground laughing. It was a good time.
Planet Earth when that came out.
Oh,
that was
dude.
good high.
Oh, fuck,
Oh, that was so
yeah.
good. I heard someone else say this, but I'm like, that shirt can't exist. But this person wanted a shirt in the Doom font, and we all know the Doom font, but instead of it saying Doom, it just says come. And I'm like, that's actually a really funny shirt idea, and I kind of want that. Sure enough, I looked it up. Yeah, I think it was Pop Tees had it. I'm like,
I'm
fuck
not
yeah,
sure
dude.
if that's
I saw.
essential, if that has to exist, but I'm kind of glad it does.
Do you remember when Mazda's like catchphrase was Zoom Zoom?
Yeah.
I saw somebody had it was the Doom logo with like Doom guy on top of the big like pyramid of demons, but he was sitting on top of a Mazda and it just said Zoom. I was like, yes,
In that font.
in that font.
That's great.
So okay,
This is going to get shaved down
Oh,
very
so
much like that.
The
porno.
further legacy of Doom.
Doom
So,
porn.
Doom was a very big influence on, obviously, we've talked about politics and
Yeah.
et cetera. And it didn't necessarily was directly involved with the creation of the ESRB, but obviously the games that it kind of made okay to start appearing
Yeah.
led into it. So politics aside, it also influenced other video games. If you've ever played any of any Duke Nukem game,
Right.
the very first Duke Nukem game and games were basically Doom clones. I mean, I don't think was it Realm, 3D Realms? Who made the original? I think it was 3D Realms.
There was a 2D Duke Nukem game first though.
Yeah, but it was in the Doom style. Duke Nukem 3D was just looked like original Doom,
Yeah.
but they just called it Duke Nukem 3D.
Right.
But it had the same 2-point 5.
Yeah. Where there's
Yeah.
no z-axis.
Yeah, like you were still essentially in place, and it was actually the world around you that moved.
I forgot playing through this recently. I forgot the where you're looking at somebody who's 20 feet above you.
I know.
But you still just shoot that direction.
And it just goes up or down
Yeah.
depending on...
Yep.
Which
So
is
good.
exactly why this is effectively a 2D game
is,
projected
yeah.
into third dimension.
No, John Carmack just hacked a 2D game into looking like a 3D game.
Duke Nukem was supposed to be, Doom mixed with action heroes of the time like Arnold Schwarzenegger and etc. And that's the heavy influence of both pop culture at the time and then of course Doom.
Right.
And Doom's had a heavy influence even going after that.
Right.
Because the game would pop up from time to time what was it? Oh, was it Doom 3 that finally came out on the 360, I think? Was it the 360 or was it the original Xbox?
Man, I don't remember where Doom 3 popped up.
But it was the
was
first full
I thought maybe
high
it was a
graphic
PC game.
volumetric lighting. I think it was a PC, or it came out on PC and I think the 360 at the same time.
Could have.
But I think it was the last one. But I think it was the last one ID Software or id Software did before it was Bethesda took it over.
Yeah.
But either way, Halo, the original Halo, the character Master Chief was also heavily influenced off of Doom Guy.
Right.
And if you put Doom Guy side by side with Master Chief, you're like, oh, yeah, I see it.
Yeah, they're both kind
classic
of Space Marine.
Yeah, Space Marine, silent protagonist, kind of, yeah.
You see a lot of the 80s action, especially 80s sci-fi action stylistic choices that made its way into the armor and the his appearance, his little facial portrait, and the guns and everything, the enemy designs, and of course this would be the kind of the progenitor of all of the modern FPS games. Right. Even if it's not the very first one, like you had mentioned, it's considered the grandfather or the father of all modern FPS.
Well, and so much spun off of it. Okay, so obviously, Quake was, because for a while it was Quake or Unreal were kind of the two flavors of FPS, and Quake is a direct successor to the Doom series. The Alice games were a big deal, and that's American McGee. That he came from this group. I mentioned Daikatana. There was a lot of
even other what is it? I can't remember the name. It's starts with a V, but they created Dead Space. They made. They said Doom was one of their influences for that game too. Not the characters, but the idea of basically fighting demons in space. Where they didn't go heavy into the action like Doom does. It goes into more so the atmosphere. And the idea of fighting in space and all that. So it's such a huge influence on just gaming in general. Shit, even Rare, when they made GoldenEye, they were like, yeah, we wanted to do Doom, but we wanted, instead of it being that 2.5 kind of environment, they wanted full 3D because GoldenEye really was the first popular full 3D or true 3D FPS game.
Yeah. No, really. Truly, it was hugely influential, and I think the fact that it was on console was big too.
Rare, some of the people at Rare, I can't remember. This was an old video from way back in the day. I think I was watching G4 or something. But some of the people developing it, they're like, yeah, if games like Doom didn't exist, we never would have even come up with GoldenEye, really.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like I say, this was the second 3D game I ever saw. The first one was Spectre, which, again, if you're a OG Mac user,
And other games just kind of more and more just to show the impact of just this one simple game with really no story at the time.
Yeah.
Its influence. Like Marathon. We've called it Mac Doom because that's what it was.
No, 100%.
And that same company, Bungie, would go on because they're clearly influenced by Doom to create Master Chief in the Halo series.
Yeah.
Another one was at the top of my head. Oh, Chex Quest.
Yes.
Anyone did you have a box of checks? Well, you probably at one point in time found the I think it was a CD at the time.
I think it was a CD.
Just came with the box. You installed it, and it was Doom, but it was done in a cutesy
so dumb.
I loved it.
Loved
it. It played so well.
Yes, it was very smooth.
And it was so popular and so nostalgic. They did a high def remaster that came out on Steam.
Yeah.
Like I think 5 years ago or so. Awesome.
Yeah.
But again, it just even a cereal company is just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Kids are playing Doom. We want them to eat our cereal. What are we going to do? Cereal mascot Doom. Hell yeah. And it was actually a hell of a game.
Hey kids, do you want to play Pepsi Man or Chex Quest?
Fucking Chex Max, dude.
Yeah.
Or not Chex Max.
Chex
Chex Quest.
That's when you make enchiladas with Chex.
Oh, God.
Oof.
You blasphemer.
Or someone takes Chex and puts like taco seasoning all over it, like a really bad puppy chow. Ugh.
God. Okay, now I'm dying.
Yep.
Okay, just real quick, I want to say that the Doom theme is one of the best pieces of like early chiptune music ever. I was sitting over here going like,
It's pretty good.
oh, it's so good. It's so like energetic and pumping, and it like fits the game so well. That like, again, despite not being an FPS kid and not really loving this style, man, the first time I heard that track, I was like, okay, this is something special.
Yeah. If you want to hear some of the best video game soundtrack music ever, the Doom from 2016, and then even the Doom Eternal soundtracks, they slap so hard. I think, what was it, the Doom Eternal theme music I sent to you guys on Discord?
Yes.
The one where like it has that build up and then it just goes quiet, and then it's kind of quiet and it slightly builds up, then all of a sudden it just hits you. It's like so good. Like, oh,
so good. All right. Final thoughts?
play Doom.
Yeah.
And it's usually always on sale or heavily discounted. And again, especially the 2016 Doom, so not Doom Eternal, the newest one, but the original Doom has been so heavily optimized.
Plays on a potato.
Yeah, plays on a potato. Just remember to switch the driver to Vulkan.
Yeah.
And yeah, you'll be able to play it on a potato.
My CPU never went above like 40 degrees.
Yeah.
It was just like, nope, this is no problems.
Yep.
Go mow down a bunch of demons.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely go if you haven't ever played Doom, which I don't know how you exist, but if you haven't played Doom and you're listening to a video game podcast, go play it. Go kill some claymation demons. It's a good time. And don't forget that you can always open the mini map and move around that way too, because sometimes finding those fucking key cards is a pain in the ass.
Is the original Doom still considered shareware, or like? Because I know you can buy it on Steam, but do you have to?
You do not. You can get the original Linux version of Doom. Its source code is open source, and so you can build a Doom for any platform that you would like.
Compile it yourself.
You can compile it yourself, or you can let somebody on GitHub do it for you, which is
that's its own thing.
Yeah.
if you're not quite as technical as these guys, that's probably the way that I would go. But yeah, Doom, I like it. It's good. It's fun, and I like blowing things up, and I like the shotgun because their faces explode. And
It's pretty fun.
The BFG, baby.
big fucking guns.
Yeah.
Big fucking gun. Classic. Have you ever heard anyone refer to a specific
Yeah.
gun as a BFG?
Yeah.
Again, Doom Legacy. That's the legacy of the game.
That's true.
They're referencing Doom because the game or the gun was called the BFG 3000 or something like that.
I like
Something
those.
like
What's
that.
the one? Is it the plasma gun? The one that's just like
The machine gun multi-fire,
Well, it's got
thing.
like a light that comes out the front of it, and it's like,
like the blue
yeah,
light thing.
What's
I
that
don't
one called?
remember what it's called, but it's
That's
neat.
fun. I like it when you hold it on them until they blow up.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. Yeah, blow some things up. All right. Well, hey, if you like what we're doing, then we like you too. I don't know if you've heard this today, but we like you. You're a good person, probably. Maybe not. I don't know. But even if you're not a good person, you
It's
deserve.
smelly from here. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, even if you're not a good person, you deserve to have somebody say, "We like you." I'm feeling very chill. I've had about 9 seltzers today, so
You did get noticeably quieter. Your voice is kind of toned down. a
I'm
little bit.
getting to kind of my smooth
He's got
jazz.
his NPR voice, where he's
Yeah.
thanking you for your contribution.
Yeah. Or as my wife likes to refer to it, his or jazz radio music.
Yeah. We
This next track's called "Brent Drinks 3 More and Then Falls Down in the Driveway."
Did you kill an entire 12 again?
There's 2 left. You had 1.
Oh yeah, that's okay. That still means you had. Oh my god,
We've been here a long time.
that's true. We have.
And he doesn't have anywhere else to go.
This
I mean, you could go other places, but you don't have to. You don't have to drive.
This podcast is brought to you by viewers like you. If you
You're holding on to that one.
if you like what we're doing, check us out on Amazon, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and come yak at us in Discord. We're always on there talking about some dumb bullshit or another. Recently, I was creating new tiny pixelated booby emojis for our very mature group that we have over there.
Sharing memes about tasteful dick neck.
Tasteful dick neck. Gotta have some tasteful
The
dick.
spoiler owl. The
Spoiler
emoji
owl.
is like my favorite.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I changed his eyes to red. I felt that
I
was
like
more
it,
appropriate.
yes.
Yeah.
It's ominous.
And play Near. It's really good. All right. With that, bye.
To move the story along, Juice Newton's a fucking bitch. Probably one of the most horrible human beings I've ever met in my life. Like, it's one thing to be mean to somebody, but when you're being mean to a group of like teenagers who are just there to help you,
Yeah.
go fuck yourself. Like, we weren't doing
yeah.
anything wrong. You gave us a list. We did exactly those things. Our supervisor was even saying they did exactly what you wanted them to do. You're just being a hoity-toity bitch because at this point in time, you haven't been relevant in like 20 years.
Yeah.
So you're just being a cunt for cunt's sake.
What was his
You're
name?
my angel. You're my darling angel. That popular song she fucking sings.
do 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 do.
Yeah.
Baby.
And it's like, that's your one good song, and you...
Angel of Morning?
Yeah. Whatever, but it's like your entire career is based around that one fucking song. It's been 20 years. You're even ugly. Like, maybe being a bitch isn't the card you need to be playing right now.
That shouldn't be what we value people on, but if you're not hot, you may play to your strengths at least.
I will say,
Personality does help if you're not attractive. I can tell you that.
Well,
I have personal experience with this.